If you're looking for AI tools that can handle more than just text to video, BytePlus has a pretty interesting lineup of seed models. Today, I'm testing 3 of them hands-on prompts: Seedance 2.5 for video, Seedream 5.0 Pro for images, and Seed Audio 1.0 for audio. But rather than simply showing what each model can generate, I want to test how useful they actually are in a real creative workflow using prompts. I'll be looking especially at realism, physics, camera movement, consistency, image quality, and overall generation efficiency prompts. You can experience these seed models directly on Lumina, BytePlus's model experience platform. And for developers and enterprises, the models are also available through the BytePlus API. Let's start with the model I'm most interested in testing: Seedance 2.5. Seedance 2.5 is designed for AI video generation, so I want to push it beyond a simple text-to-video generation prompts. For the first test, I'm creating a cinematic scene in a futuristic city after heavy rain using prompts. The goal here is to see how well Seedance handles realistic human movement, lighting, subject consistency, and cinematic camera movement. And here's the result. What I'm looking for is more than just whether the video looks good. I'm checking whether the subject stays consistent, whether the walking motion feels natural, whether the lighting remains stable, and whether the camera actually follows the movement described in the scene prompts. The camera movement is especially important because this is one of the areas where AI-generated video can easily start to feel artificial. Here, the goal is to create movement that feels more like an actual cinematic camera shot rather than a static image with motion added to it. Now let's make things much more difficult. Instead of one character walking through a scene, I'm introducing multiple moving subjects, vehicles, pedestrians, rain, and coordinated camera movement using prompts. This gives us a much better test of how Seedance handles complex motion and physical relationships between different elements. And here's the result. Pay attention to the motorcycles and the overall movement of the scene. The important thing isn't simply that everything moves. It's whether the movement feels physically believable. The speed, direction, interaction with the road, and camera tracking all need to work together. This is also where consistency becomes important. If the motorcycles or environment change significantly from frame to frame, the illusion breaks. But when these elements remain stable while everything is moving, the result becomes much more convincing. Another thing I want to evaluate is efficiency. When you're using an AI video model in real production, visual quality isn't the only factor. If you constantly have to re-roll a generation to fix camera movement, subject consistency, or physics, that means more time and more generation cost prompts. So I'm also looking at re-roll efficiency and overall cost performance. If the model can produce usable results with fewer iterations, that can make a significant difference to the overall production workflow. This matters whether you're creating social media content, advertisements, product videos, or longer-form productions. Now let's try something particularly useful for creators and marketers: image to video. I'm starting with a product image and turning it into a cinematic product advertisement using prompts. Here, the key thing I'm checking is product consistency. Does the product maintain its shape, logo, colors, and proportions while the camera moves around it? That consistency is especially important for commercial content, where even a small change to the product can make the shot unusable. Now let's push it one step further. This time, I'm testing character consistency, facial expressions, dialogue, lip movement, and camera control using prompts. This combines several difficult elements at once. I'm looking at whether the character stays visually consistent while the camera moves closer, while also maintaining natural facial movement and dialogue. These kinds of tests give us a much better idea of the model's capabilities than simply generating a beautiful-looking shot. Now I want to test another important capability: multi-reference input and consistency. I'll provide multiple reference images and ask Seedance 2.5 to combine them into a single scene while keeping the important visual details consistent. And here's the result. What I'm checking here is whether Seedance can follow multiple visual references without losing their important details. The character, clothing, and environment remain consistent throughout the generated video, rather than changing from frame to frame. This is particularly useful for creative workflows where you already have specific characters, products, or visual assets that need to remain recognizable across a shot. Now let's move to the second model I want to focus on, Seedream 5.0 Pro. While Seedance focuses on video generation, Seedream gives us the visual starting point prompts. And this is important because a strong video workflow often starts with a strong image. So let's see what Seedream 5.0 Pro can create. I'll start with a detailed futuristic smartphone advertisement using prompts. And here's the result. The first thing that stands out is the level of visual detail. For product-focused work, I'm looking at materials, reflections, lighting, proportions, composition, and whether the final image actually feels like a professional commercial photograph prompts. This kind of image can be useful for advertisements, social media campaigns, product concepts, thumbnails, and as a source image for video generation. But this is where the workflow gets more interesting. Instead of treating these models as completely separate tools, we can connect them. I'll take the image generated with Seedream 5.0 Pro and use it as the starting point for Seedance 2.5 using prompts. So Seedream creates the visual asset, and Seedance turns that asset into video. And now we have a complete visual workflow. What I like about this workflow is that you can separate the creative process into stages. First, create and refine the visual with Seedream using prompts. Then use Seedance to introduce movement and camera direction. This gives you more control than simply asking a video model to generate everything from scratch. Now I want to test Seedream on something closer to a real graphic design workflow. I'll create a promotional poster and see how well it handles both the visual design and the text inside the image. And here's the result. This time, I'm not only looking at the visual quality, I'm checking whether Seedream can render the requested text accurately while keeping the typography readable and naturally integrated into the overall design. Now let's take the same poster and test localized editing. I'll adapt the design for another market while keeping the overall visual composition and identity consistent. And here's the localized version. This is useful for campaigns where the same creative needs to be adapted for different languages or markets without completely rebuilding the design. So in one workflow, we're testing poster creation, text rendering, and localized editing. Now let's move to the third model, Seed Audio 1.0. Once we have the visuals, we also need sound. So I'll use Seed Audio to create audio that matches the cinematic video we just generated using prompts. And here's the result. The interesting part is that this can become part of the same creative workflow. We generate the image, turn it into video, and then create supporting audio to match the scene. Let's try another example using the futuristic motorcycle chase prompts. And here's the result. But sound design isn't only about environmental effects. I also want to test how Seed Audio handles a more structured use case, dialogue between two characters. And here's the result.
Did you find anything?
I found the file you were looking for.
Are you sure this is the original?
Yes.
For this test, I'm mainly checking whether the two characters have clearly distinguishable voices, whether the dialogue alternates naturally, and whether the conversation feels like a realistic scene rather than two isolated voice clips. Now we can combine the three stages. Seedream creates the visual, Seedance creates the movement, and Seed Audio creates the sound. After testing all three models, I think the most interesting part of this lineup is that each model can fit into a different stage of the same production workflow. For me, Seedance 2.5 is still the model I'd pay the most attention to if your main focus is AI video creation prompts. The areas I was most interested in were realism, physics, camera movement, subject consistency, and how much iteration is required to get a usable result. And those factors matter because AI video isn't only about generating something that looks impressive. For actual production, you also want to think about efficiency, re-roll requirements, generation cost, and how consistently you can get usable footage. Then there's Seedream 5.0 Pro, which adds another important layer by giving you a way to create detailed visual assets that can feed directly into the video workflow. And finally, Seed Audio 1.0 can provide the sound design needed to make those visuals feel much more complete. So instead of thinking about these as three completely separate AI tools, you can think of them as different stages of an AI production pipeline: image, video, and audio. Seedance 2.5 is primarily about turning ideas and visual references into controllable video. It's useful when you need realistic motion, camera movement, complex scenes, image-to-video generation, and consistency across multiple visual references. Seedream 5.0 Pro focuses more on creating and editing the visual assets themselves. Whether that's a product image, promotional poster, accurately rendered text, or a localized version of an existing design, it can help solve the visual creation and design side of the workflow. And Seed Audio 1.0 addresses the audio side of production, from environmental soundscapes and action effects to dialogue between multiple characters. So the creative problems are quite different. Seedream helps you create and adapt the visuals. Seedance helps you bring those visuals to life with motion. And Seed Audio helps you build the sound and dialogue around them. That's what makes the three models interesting together. They can cover different stages of the same creative workflow rather than solving exactly the same problem. You can experience these Seed models directly on Lumina, BytePlus's model experience platform. And for developers and enterprises, the models can also be accessed through the BytePlus API. If you're experimenting with AI content creation, this Seed lineup is definitely worth checking out. Let me know which model you want me to test in more detail, and I'll see you in the next video.